Welcome, everybody, to the Onward VR Master League. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. I'm here with my co-caster, TFH. How are you today, Todd?
I'm pretty good, man. How are you?
I am excellent, and I'm looking forward to this high-octane matchup that we got our hands on today. The probably top of the top matchups that we see here. The Button Cup is the only way we get it in the middle of the season. Globochem versus Beginners. NA versus EU. Two of the best teams in the VRML, in the world, and Onward, going at it against each other today. What are you expecting, Todd?
Oh, man, we're going to see some top-tier strategy today. Probably some really good upsets. And both teams have some fairly new faces on both sides that we've gotten this season. So maybe a little bit of a fresh take to the whole kind of game here.
Yeah, you know, talking of, it is a good moment to dive into, well, we can at least look at the active roster for Globochem. Over on Globo's side, we have Thunder Pilot, Izzy or Bart, Mike Crook, Mixologist, and Otto. And frankly, I think it's unfair that Globo runs 6 people.
Izzy or Bart, yeah. Well, I mean, she's 2 people, so what do you expect?
Yeah, either way, they are looking pretty dang good this season. If you want to look at Globo's record, it's not something that, it's something you're used to seeing, right? A lot of W's on that board, although they have had a few losses. They lost against G-Men early on in the season, and actually, I take that back with a few. That's the only loss they've had so far in this season.
I mean, compared to like Season 4 Globochem, it's definitely very different to where we would not see them lose like at all. But keep in mind, they are kind of adjusting to having a very new lineup after losing Pants, Toast,
right.
And one other, I believe. But kind of mixing in these newer people who aren't used to playing on this kind of level of gameplay.
Right.
It can be a little stressful for a top tier team, I should say, at times.
Over on Beginners, the active roster is looking like Killinger, Smoils, Neox, Icy Woods, and Woods 43. Neox being that newer addition. And I want to take a look at this roster, but I think we got to go into pick bans in the map right now because both these guys look like they're ready to go at it.
Yeah. On Globo's side, we're going to be banning Suburbia. And for the Beginners, we're going to be banning Cargo. Now, kind of diving into the data here. Whoop. Lost my data. There it is. It looks like that the ban for Globochem, which is Suburbia, it's kind of an iffier for one. It's definitely not their worst, but Cargo is a good ban for Globochem as well from the Beginner side, because that is their worst one.
You know, it's interesting on the philosophy on bans, right? Because some teams end up banning maps that they're the worst on. Some teams end up banning maps that the enemy they're playing is the best on. It's a different, you know, I guess it's kind of how confident are in your team's abilities, right? Are you really confident that you can win any map except for maybe the one you're not as honed in on? Or do you have to be concerned about what your team's going to be doing?
Yeah, and both of these maps that have been banned here are very kind of like staples of Onward kind of maps where you see them all the time in pub lobbies. Everyone's practicing them all the time. They're very vanilla maps. And maybe they just want to shift it up and kind of give the other team a little bit of a wild card by giving them some maybe unpredicted maps. So we're starting off with Tanker here. It's not the most popular map, but, you know, the rabbit hole could go deeper here.
I would say it's popular for this season. Strangely enough, I do agree with you. It's a map that we haven't seen played a ton throughout the course of the VRML's history, but it's something that we've seen spring up and being played with top-tier teams. SMC Tactical started to prefer Tanker. G-Men looking good on Tanker. Globochem, very honed in on Tanker. I haven't had an opportunity to see how Beginners perform on Tanker this season, and I'm very interested to see how they go up against Globo.
Yeah, we do know the EU playstyle that we talk about so often here on the VRML. And
I think it's shifting. I know what you're gonna say, but I think it's shifting, man. You look at that G-Men versus what was it, Rome matchup? No,
it's a slower match.
Way slower on the G-Men side, and Rome were the ones playing it fast. And we saw in chat a lot of EU players going, "What about that EU slow play now?" So, you know, I almost wonder if it's been something that EU teams have been practicing and trying to do more of, is to play it faster as opposed to waiting to that last minute. It would be a pretty big change up from the Beginners' traditional style if they did that, but that's kind of what you want to do if you're going up against Globo, right?
Yeah, being able to kind of shift it up, make all previously known strategies about the opposing team just go to waste and just give them a hell of a time. That would be quite a spectacle to see here.
And you know both these teams know how each other plays.
Yeah, they've played together a lot,
they have,
and in person too.
It's the oldest rivalry in the VRML's history. They've played each other since Season 1, and we're finally going to see how they now square off in Season 9 as we hop into Round 1 of Map 1.
That's like a solid 3 years of playing together, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, not everybody on each team has that sort of history, but a good portion of both sides do. And look at these defensive smokes coming in. I wonder if these are sort of here to slow up the Globochem push.
I feel like that they're actually sent by beginners to be able to allow for rotations, but most of the rotation is going downstairs. Aggressive beginners play is happening.
What are they going to do here? Are they running? Okay, they're going to go for the back rotation on the stairs. I was wondering if they're going to go all the way back, but it does look like they're going to find Otto on the backside. Woods finds Izzy or Bart. Killinger picks up a double on the Thunder, and Globochem have one left alive in a flash.
Wow, this is not EU slow play at all. This is serious speed as Mixologist finds Killinger.
And he's shocked. He now realizes he's the last one alive. He sees Neox around this corner, tries to blind fire, and he can't secure it. Beginners in 1 minute on defense push Globochem down and take the round. I told you.
Yes, you did. You did. I'm pleasantly surprised.
Wow. That's
an incredibly quick round. That was way quicker than I would have ever expected.
And that's literally exactly what we're talking about. And you know, it's if we know this, right? Then it's you would assume Globo is also sort of prepared for this. Beginners maybe showing their hand that hey, we've been working on some new stuff, and Globo should be able to be a little bit more ready for it. But I mean,
yeah,
wow.
The Blitzkrieg just kind of came through there and caught everyone by surprise, but Blitzkriegs only last for the first half of wars, at least as history says, so maybe Globochem can work it out here and slow down the push from beginners here.
Either way, you couldn't ask for a better start in your series up against the #1 NA team. Beginners already with a nice 1-0 lead on Globo's map choice. Actually, let's think about this. Beginners started on Volk. Yeah, Globo's map pick.
Yeah, this is Globo's map pick, yeah. I guess this is the map to get really aggressive on, because it does facilitate that movement with all the cover that you have around you that is perfectly bulletproof. And we talk about that a lot, because there's a difference between this map and Cargo, where you have a bunch of the containers, like the palletized containers, that on Cargo would be bulletproof, but on Tanker, I'm sorry, on Cargo are not bulletproof, but on Tanker are bulletproof.
Oh, interesting. We can be pretty assured that both these teams are aware of the nuance of those things, too, as we hop into round number 2 of map 1.
We're going to see Globochem kind of set up a defense here. It is the downstairs objective, so they will have to
still repeat upstairs.
Oh, repeat upstairs. Oh, my bad. See, even I get tripped
Well,
up.
you got confused because beginners pushed on defense underground, so it was just like, what's even happening?
We're going to see like a...
Yeah, you look at Killinger. He's protecting from the exact same defensive position. He's defending from right where they attacked, so... If you're curious how you prevent that beginner's push, you have to invest one in that downstairs. Killinger's doing just that.
Now, beginners are getting aggressive on defense, but on offense, we're seeing it slow up here.
It's the first couple of rounds in this series. Obviously, they're a bit cautious of some sort of unexpected moves from Globochem. And honestly, Globo is getting a little bit aggressive on their defense, too. You do see Mix pushing up just a touch into those crates that are impenetrable, as you said before. He's got a nice little angle through those crates as well. But yeah, we are into a bit of a holding pattern. Beginners making sure. I mean, a strat we've seen honestly from a lot of NA teams is a pretty aggressive move up top. So I don't anticipate. You know, this is beginners doing their homework. They've watched plenty of matches on the NA side. They're aware of some common strats, and I think they're just trying to defend for those. And it's probably going to be another 1 or 2 minutes before they start to really try and cover some ground.
Now we're gonna see a little bit more aggression here. Smoils tries to peek around corners here, down on the downstairs. Oh no, he's just making noise.
Yeah, you're right. He's just trying to draw that audio suppression out onto Otto and Mix, shooting literally up into the roof for maximum effect.
Do you know how crazy it would be if they made those rooftops like
penetrable?
You know, penetrable. Do you know how crazy Taker would get?
It would be a lot of cheating accusations, I can tell you that. But, yeah, they're lucky for now that it is impenetrable. But the audio suppression is certainly a viable strat. I'm not sure why he was drawing that audio suppression, maybe to sort of force the rotations out, but nothing really comes of it, and beginners are still holding.
Could be trying to force the defense over onto the side where he was trying to do an audio suppression to make it seem like beginners were attacking more on that side. Now beginners have the opportunity to attack on Izzy's side of the defense and maybe overwhelm him.
The first actual shots at each other ring out, beginners and Globo. And landing there. Took about 3 minutes before they started to shoot at each other.
Very different from the 1 minute round we had last round.
But beginners are doing both strategies, so I don't know. You can't say anything.
No one knows what to expect.
Yeah, right.
Still 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. And beginners haven't really made a definitive push across the midpoint.
They do have
Smoils.
Yeah, waiting. Probably going to be a minute push, as usual, for the beginners' offensive style. And I mean, really no reason to change it up. That last-minute push, they've become so good at it, and they sync up so well with it that it is a very effective means of attacking an objective.
And Smoils is being so patient. I can guarantee that he can hear Izzy right around that corner there. He could obviously try to go for that pick, but that will obviously signal to Globochem that that's where the push is really going to come from. That might not be what beginners want.
At 20 now. It is going to be a last-minute push, and chaos will unfold on the minute mark.
Yeah, now we see Killinger moving his way up on the downstairs tunnel. The other three in the squad, both of the Woods brothers and Neox, still hanging out in the back there. Nades are going to come out now. Flashes and smokes so far. Looks like one frag is going to go out, yes.
Flashes are certainly a smart option because when you have such limited time to deny vision for 10, 15 seconds, it can completely throw off things. Izzy getting a nade inside, he moves and rotates off of that. He should be safe, tucked in. Meanwhile, Killinger rotating up onto Thunder. Trade there. Thunder finds the kills. Otto picks up Woods. The push not working out so well as Smoils goes down. Neox goes down.
Izzy goes down. Oh, Mix is a team kill with the C4 on Izzy.
Not the worst case for this Globochem squad since Icy Woods is the last one alive, but can he push up here onto Otto, pad out, and punch in this code? No, he has to get inside the crate. He has to challenge Otto and Thunder, and he can't quite do it.
The last minute push for beginners didn't work out as well as their first minute push against Globochem.
You know,
round one.
I wonder if we'll see beginners work off of that knowledge too, right? Because Globochem clearly are very aware of the beginner's style of offense. They know how they like to play, they know they like to keep it last minute, and they don't let that affect them. The idea behind that last minute strat is that most players, when they have only a minute on the clock, start to get very nervous, and they start to move sporadically rotate out of positions they may not normally have to rotate into, and that's where beginners can catch out people, get those picks, and suddenly they're up 5-3 as they push objective with 30 seconds left. The reverse is that if you don't find those picks, if the team is prepared, stays disciplined, locks onto their angles, and they have good angles, it's going to be very tough to push through, and Globochem putting that to the test right there as they snag their Volk round. Now try and answer back with the Marsoc round. And another opportunity for some quick plays here with this objective.
Oh yeah, this objective is very keen on those because there's plenty of places to cap from, plenty of places to flank around. It's just a smack dab in the middle of the map. What else could you ask for? It's got everything available to it. Now the one kind of downside of this objective is that it's a little bit further away than most objectives on this map. So you have to do a little bit of running to get there. That could allow for beginners to, if they choose to be aggressive on this again, to utilize that time and push up as far as they possibly can and find good angles.
Yeah, we'll see as we hop into round 3. Both squads readied up for this Button Cup goodness. Is this the last Button Cup match too? I think we have some others going on simultaneously today. So I guess it's not the last, but a lot of Button Cup rounds going to be decided today. We'll see if beginners can edge out ahead here as they do put in a pretty aggressive push on their defensive turn.
Yeah, they're definitely extending beyond the objective this time. Nyx is able to find IC though, bringing them down one member. Thunderpilot's gonna be able to find Neox. And now beginners are down 2 members, but Globochem lost 1 in the process as well.
Moving underground, Izzy Bart picks up Smoils. Things not looking so good now for this beginner's defense. Woods 43, the last alive against Thunder. This series is not how we were expecting it to go, right?
No, it's a little less aggression from time, but Globochem brought it this time.
Wow. I'm not to blame for that overlay. I pushed the button and it didn't go. Okay, I do apologize for missing that 30-second round, but jeez.
It happens.
Yeah, that was quick.
This is a lot quicker than I thought it would be.
Well, I mean, you said
the entirety of this.
I hope we don't. You know, at the offline, we were just saying we hope we don't get another boss fight. What was it? Boss fight pacifist, 3-hour round, 3-hour series. Boss fight beginners.
Boss fight beginners. We had a 2-hour and like 40-minute cast. I remember that being, and I had like a game right after that too. So I was like sweating. Like, will this ever end?
What we're doing right now is also really jinxing it. So expect a long series now because we've just ruined it for everybody.
Yeah.
But
they're gonna do like Snow Peak next.
Yeah,
it's gonna be minute rounds every single time.
I mean, I'm sure some folks would be happy to see Snow Peak, but yeah, now we're gonna get some long rounds. I'm sure. We'll see if Globo get aggressive on defense. I mean, I'm not sure what to expect here. Beginners could come in and throw in a quick Marsoc push. They could come in charging with smokes. Globochem don't have a ton of options. It's pretty hard to play this one aggressive and not really run it being a risk. When you get aggressive on this objective, it is risky.
Yeah, it's very open. Right. Even though it has plenty of spots to cover, it's still incredibly open. Plenty of defensive flanks to come around and catch you with your pad out. And I think beginners are very well aware of that. They're going to try to go for another 6 minutes.
Yeah. They'll set up their underground attackers probably on stairs, keep Woods and Neox up here for a good chunk of the time, and eventually these 3 up top will push with the 2 downstairs. Make their entry.
It looks like it's going to be Killinger this time, not Smoils, who's going to be trying to run the distraction. Maybe get a little bit behind enemy lines.
Yeah. It's a strategy we've seen a bit more common amongst the top tier teams. They'll try and thread 1 or 2 players through the defensive gaps.
Just be a nuisance, kind of get their attention, and then right when they're all focused on that one guy, they just push in.
Look like Otto has an angle on this lane, though, and might find himself with a pick pretty soon.
Hey, shield on north. Alright, yeah, don't pick him. Yep. I'll help you get him when he pushes up.
And I mean, I don't know if you caught that little exchange between Otto and Mike, but they're so aware of the beginner's strategy. You know, Otto says he's not. Mike tells him not to peek, and that they'll tag team him once he pushes, because they know it'll happen eventually. As long as they hold their angles, this beginner's team will come into that objective around the minute mark.
And the side that Otto and Mike is this push is kind of being leaned toward, judging by where the beginners' positioning are. Granted, Killinger kind of shifts it around all the time, but
yeah. Do apologize for that brief tech hiccup there. Not sure what happened, but everything is in order.
we don't call them hiccups, we call them features. More shots coming out as Smoils is trying to just create a distraction. I don't think he really had an angle at all there.
That window that Mike's peeking through is impenetrable, so he has full view of where these shots are coming from and can radio in that information to Mix, who's going to be their point man in the case that these guys start pushing.
Yeah, and we got 3 minutes and 15 seconds left in this round. Anything can happen in that time frame, but this is the halfway mark.
And
Ooh.
ooh, Mix getting a little over aggressive. It's exactly what the beginner's offense is meant to do. It's why they have people in these positions in the back end for 3 minutes, because eventually they can capitalize on a little over aggression, rotations from the defense, and find that pick, and now they have themselves a 5v4.
Yeah, it's definitely not wise to peek against these kinds of teams because they know exactly where the defensive layout is going to be positioned. Now this objective has become a lot harder to defend because everyone's either inside the building or downstairs, but that it just takes a little bit amount of time to rotate back up to objective if you see that push happen.
You know, I almost wonder if we're going to see kind of a similar style of push from beginners as we saw from them when they were on defense, because it does look like they're going to invest 3 in these downstairs here. You're going to send Killinger to rotate around and challenge Otto, who has rotated, to watch for this exact move. The shield is going to be the wise choice.
Yeah, Killinger is bringing the shield. Just want to take a peek at the loadout. He's bringing the shield laser combo. Otto's going to challenge it. Icy's going to try to be the point man here instead of like the shield. That box is impenetrable. Otto gets away. He tries to throw a nade, but that won't work. Woods will get the better of that.
That LMG and consistent aggression allowed him to full press and keep that pressure on. Manages to find the kill. Beginners now into a 5v3, a minute 30 on the clock. They're positioned in a great... I mean, they're perfectly positioned right now.
Yeah, they're all around the objective from all the places that you could surprise people from. Smoils finds Dizzy.
Nades come in to catch rotations. Thunder, fortunate enough, doesn't get caught out. Neox is pat out in the smoke. Are they going to apply the pressure that they need to? Is Mike going to find this? Wow, he does not. Neox in the smoke with 30 seconds left. Gets beginners a cap, and just like that, they answer back to Globochem's Marsoc round.
Wow. Just so much thing happened there. I didn't even see the cap. I saw the C4, but it just shows you how well like capping under smoke can be, especially in the final C. Your mind just doesn't focus on the full picture of what's going on. It only focuses on what's going in front of you, and that's where the artistry of attacking in the last minute comes into play.
Yeah, and you know, I think they detonated that C4 and assumed that they had quelled that initial push, because like you said, they got that kill on the backside. They heard most likely that kill audio and assumed that they had denied that threat. Mike couldn't see the attacker in the smoke, and it's times like that where it's almost just a safe bet to dump some rounds into that smoke just to be sure.
Yeah, I've always subscribed to the religion of if there's smoke, knife out, run in. and just see what you can do, just because it's fun. But yeah, dumping rounds in, nades, whatever you can, flashes even. Whatever you can do to make sure that no one is doing some sneaky stuff behind smoke is definitely a much safer option than assuming no one's there.
Take a quick gander at KDs. And across the board, honestly. If anything, Beginner is not really jumping onto the kills, especially after that cap. They have a bit of a lower KD than Globochem, and they're winning.
Yeah, Globochem are not really much of a capping team, if I understand correctly. They like to take the safer route whenever possible.
They historically have not been. I think that we are seeing a bit of a shift in that mindset amongst top teams this season. This season has really changed a lot of the meta, a lot of players playing it differently, new players bringing in some new strats. It's an exciting time to play Onward, especially if you've been in the league for a while already, to start to see some new stuff. It's exactly what you want.
It definitely gives you a headache for, older players trying to keep up with everything, but it's possible. Mike is actually... I thought it was Killinger for a second. Mike's getting really aggressive on this objective here. I think he's going to try to harass, though. He doesn't look like that he's going to try to go full in, especially with his team being not in exactly good positions for a shield to make a charge in yet.
Yeah, Woods is very aware of that presence there, and he is making a push off that flash. Went to Icy Woods instead of Woods 43. The dang brothers.
I know, right? Why can't they have different enough names? This is a brotherly matchup, though. We got Otto and Thunder, who are brothers, and the Woods brothers.
I think there's a triplet pair.
An amazing nade downs Mike, but it's not able to confirm him.
Ooh, Chaos rings out. Somehow the shield goes down. Neox applying pressure down this lane, gets completely shut down by Izzy. He does a nice job of shooting over that shield, snags one for Globochem, and now they're into a 3v5. Beginner is trying to get aggressive on this defense, not paying off.
There's a glitch with the shield currently going on where it's like if you try to set it down, it will go flying, and that just happened to Thunderpilot. He got very lucky because he was able to grab the shield back under smoke, but had that smoke not been there, he would not have been so fortunate. He is in objective room now. He's able to find Woods 43. He's not able to get that confirm for some reason. Now he's able to. But Smoils is going to apply the pressure now. Thunderpilot's going to do over a shield player. He's going to go down. Mike is the veteran shield player on Globochem. A nade is going to go right by him.
Izzy or Bart's got Pat out. Smoils is trapped inside. Mike's looking right at him, and he goes for the kill. Izzy or Bart. Oh, no. They could have won the map there, but Globo take the round.
The lack of communication there on that aggression. The shield is perfect for.
He could have sat there. He could have sat there in front of Smoils. Looked at him for a while. The code could have been punched in, but it's the intense moments like that where it's really hard for your communication to shine. That's really where that, you have to have some sort of code to notify your whole team that you're about to cap the objective.
Yeah, I know on my team it's just clicking on the mic,
right?
Like a lot to signify that you're on objective, but sometimes that could be overheard because there's a lot of noise going on in this game. It's a very loud game, and so hearing that is just not going to go through when you're firing a 249 or something like that.
That's true. That's very true. Especially when you're underground in there, it's just an echo chamber loud. Of bullets.
The devs have definitely put a lot of work into making a very realistic sound environment, even though it's been a little controversial. But to be fair, if you're firing guns in a giant metal room like this, it's gonna be loud.
No reason to be deafening anybody playing a video game, but yeah, I agree. And
hey man, it's like those sci-fi, things where you see like people are trapped in VR and it's super realistic and they can't get out unless they die. I'm totally not referencing an anime there at all, but
we're fortunate enough that we don't have that in Onward.
Don't worry about that.
We can keep our players alive and well throughout the course of their tenure in the VRML. And now we're gonna hop into round number 6 because there has been a cap. Get back into this. First map, it's all tied up. Globochem versus Beginners, 3-3.
And this is the round to decide it all. Who will take map 1? Beginners have been captastic, but Globochem have been clawing their way back here. Oh, and Killinger's gonna get really aggressive with this shield. He's gonna try to start peeking places, but Otto, I think, is trying to lure him, if I'm not mistaken.
Does look like a Beginner's squad is focused a bit on the upstairs approach more than anything. Woods 43 maybe concerned about Globochem looking for an unorthodox flank up top. It is something that we have seen relatively consistently from some teams. They do prefer to invest where Thunder Pilot's camping now. They'll send Thunder out up along the backside to kind of cover the upstairs, but
yeah,
not the case here. And instead, Beginners are literally on top of the objective at 5 minutes.
I mean, I've been feeling if Globochem are able to get picks first, they'll send Thunder on that flank.
Sure.
That is not out of the question at all, especially with how far up he's positioned. There are places that you could defend a little bit further back if you want to be closer. I think it's just trying to keep the best of both worlds.
This Globo defense, though, not a single person is peeking angles.
They're all holding great angles.
Everybody is tucked in. Nobody's risking peeking themselves out. I think this is a reaction to Mix peeking out and dying on their last defensive round. And now when it all comes down to the final round of a map, they know how Beginners are going to want to play it, and they're defending accordingly.
Yeah, and Beginners have been very consistent aside from the first round. I will add that as a as a notation. Very consistently with how they play. They like to hang back, just make a lot of noise, kind of psych out the Volk defense, and then push in the last 1 or 2 minutes.
You know, Globo knows that's what they're doing, though, right? Because they know they don't have anybody upstairs. They know nobody's peeking angles. None of these shots are at anyone. So the Smoils strategy should be pretty well known. If I even am willing to bet that Globo knows that's Smoils.
Yeah, that seems like a Smoils thing to do. He's always kind of the hooligan.
I mean, he's the LMG boy, right? He's always been the suppressing fire guy.
Just if it exists, it's getting shot. I mean, when you got that many bullets, why not, man?
Does look like Killinger has spotted Bart's defensive location. He's got that laser hovering right over where Bart needs to be.
When you're with the shield, you have that ability to be able to peek these kind of defensive positions. Kind of the artistry of it is not only doing these amazing shield tactics, but being able to, you know, decipher the enemy positioning.
You gotta know when you push a shield that there's gonna be a rifle guy peeking up over the backside. Most players actually aim for that as well once they see the shield, and Mix getting kind of surprised by Woods 43 as he pops out and snags the kill. Now Beginners, best case scenario, 5v4.
Yeah, Mix has seemed to have been on the short side here, but Neox is gonna get C4'd.
Huge C4 to deny that shield from entering on the backside.
It's perfectly placed. I think they almost intentionally put Mix there.
Wow. Yeah, you might be right. They might have had him there as an initial defensive point and then to draw in the plays. Mike actually finds both of them there in that hallway as well, so certainly pays off. Smoils is here watching, though, as he does pick up the shield.
And what's disastrous for Beginners is now Mike has a shield.
Yeah, that can't get...
He's probably one of the best shield players in the league. And, oh, he's going to give it to Izzy, who's also very confident on the shield as well.
They have her posted up guarding this hallway now. It's going to make it so incredibly hard for Beginners to push from this angle. With the shield there on offense, the utility's probably not abundant.
Now it's up to Killinger, who also has a shield, which means that a double shield strategy did come out of Beginners. He's going to try to make the most of his situation, but it's beginning to kind of shift toward Globochem here.
We still got four, and we got 2 down, I think. So.
Final minute of play here. We could be seeing the Beginners' iconic push at literally any minute now. It has to be this one, though. We might see some shield versus shield here as Izzy and Killinger are gonna meet each other here at some point.
At some point, 40 seconds left. Beginners are gonna have to start to make their moves.
Happened.
Oh, and he botches the nade and gets it behind himself. Wow.
Oh, that is such a huge fluke. That utility is no longer available. He has another one though.
Ooh.
Izzy's gonna ignore that. That is a nade.
Fully flashes Izzy. Killinger's inside. Shots ringing out on the backside. He's crouched down with shield. He's going up against 3 Globo. It's a tall order with 15 seconds left.
That Triforce just comes out and denies him any chance. And Globochem will take map 1.
You know, what a great kickoff to this series, because that was not easy for either one of those teams. Both duking it out pretty hard on their Volk and Marsoc rounds. New strategies coming out from the beginners' side that did work out quite well to give them an early lead, but it just wasn't quite enough to get beginners up over the hump, and Globo grabbed their map choice and map 1. It could have been really bad for Globo if they had lost this round.
I think it could have been bad for both sides here, yeah, but definitely Globochem will be riding that positive energy from taking map 1, which is not an official game mechanic, but is definitely a mental mechanic.
Yeah.
When you get that hype going up inside the team, just magical things can happen.
Oof.
Especially when you're going up against world champions.
Yeah, a lot to analyze there. Globo, pretty standard Globochem. They seemed very prepared for any sort of beginner's offensive style. What they weren't ready for was something new. And beginners showed that when they started off that series by getting aggressive on defense and completely wiping Globochem before they could even have a chance to react. Now,
yeah, I think that wipe came in the first 15 seconds, if I'm not mistaken.
Now we go to Downfall. Lot longer range. There's not necessarily the options to surprise with a new strategy here. And so it's kind of an interesting choice, if you think about it, considering how well Globo defended against their offensive strategies on Tanker. They're now going to try and go and basically replicate that same sort of style where they're going to push in that last minute. Because the options, you don't really have the option of pushing fast on Downfall.
It takes 6 minutes to go across the map,
right.
Yeah. And the first objective is a doozy. It's going to be the East Dumpster Building, which has... That's a hard one to defend. That's a very hard one to defend because it's just so open. You can't really rotate your defense around to cover positions that have been lost.
And
so once your team gets... Go ahead.
You have to invest in smokes to even cross into defensive positions or you'll get shot trying to rotate early, so...
Yeah, and what I was saying before was once the momentum gets built up on one side of the push, it's really hard to counter that because you can't rotate to defend that momentum, or to defend against that momentum, I should say.
How do we know who's playing your Bart?
It's just one person.
What is it?
It is. She always has the same voice.
They're twins, dude. Think about that?
Maybe. Ooh. Well, I mean, to be fair, it's only 5. It's still a 5v5 because it's Izzy or Bart. It's not Izzy and Bart. So, in theory, it's still fair. Just Globochem get to have 9 people instead of the standard 8.
No more speculation, Todd. We're into the action. It's been a quick one so far, if you have just appeared in this series, in this matchup. Tanker going 4-3 to the hands of Globochem, and I dare say record time for these two, at the very least. Now we're going to slow it up with a little bit of some Downfall for round number 1.
Yeah. And this will definitely slow up a match just because it's so open. There's not too many points where you could just easily rush out to in the minimum amount of time and just hang out there. you kind of have to cash in early here and find a place that you want to defend. This is definitely more of a map for Mike to shine on. He is kind of Globochem's new designated marksman. Sure, Arsenic.
Here are those defensive smokes I'm talking about. Izzy and Bart, Izzy or Bart, Izzy and Bart, and Otto dropping smokes here to allow them to get across. And now Izzy's in a really good spot. To have control of this building is almost necessary so that you can properly defend the outside of objective. Oh.
Thunder's able to find Woods.
From where? Wow, long range shot from that hilltop, and he's not even using his amplification there to get that longer range. He's still using the hollow there.
But why? This is such a standard position.
Some complaining coming out from Mike and Thunder.
I don't think it's complaining. It's more questioning. Thunder's trying to figure out what beginners were trying to do with that rotation. You know, this defensive angle that Thunder has is, like he said, super common. To cross out that far is a huge risk, and I just wonder what beginner's strategy is going to be now.
Well, I mean, it is kind of against the meta to go all the way out on the map on the far east side. It's not commonly used. Matter of fact, we've seen Gladiator use that, but that's just for him to hide and put his drone out. But
If they get up to White Tower,
and it's definitely caught people off guard with him doing that. But I think Thunder was very well mentally equipped for that kind of
yeah, what do you think about
rotation to happen.
Because they're gonna stay away from me here. Yeah. Okay. Sure, I'm gonna go to the White House. I'm rotating the White House. And I'm gonna hide.
It looks like there's going to be two more of the beginners going to try to make that same rotation. Come on that same side here to challenge Thunder and Mike. Shots coming out. That's from Woods.
White House. I might need you to come back because I think they're going to try to make a push on this hill. I can distract them because they've seen me, but they haven't seen you.
Here Thunder's comms. He's trying to draw in Mike Cook back to this defensive hilltop because he knows he's being suppressed. If Mike does come here and gets onto this hill, Mike's got a pretty easy pick on that far side if he identifies him over there as well.
What do you got him at?
And Thunder's been... Ooh,
Wow.
This approach is getting pretty quick
Yeah,
here.
this
as
is very risky.
Killinger just dodges Mike. Wow. Now Killinger's in a great spot to counter Mike, but that won't be needed as Woods is able to get a really nice shot on him. Killinger's gonna get Mike's only hope of resurrection. I'm pretty sure that confirm's gonna come out from Killinger as well, with a nice double to go up with that.
Gonna have to rotate pretty far here. He does go all the way out. Icy Wood's actually the one to find that confirmation from the hilltop, and they have now 2 minutes left for a pretty long rotation along the east side. They have even the odds into a 3v3, but if you're talking pushing this objective, beginners are not terribly close.
No, they still have one major obstacle to get by first, and that is this really exposed area between the E2 story and Marsoc Towers. That's very exposed, especially if you got a member watching that area like they are right now.
No, North Marsoc. You might have just won a dark room. I can't see though.
I don't know if you heard, but Killinger was kind of correcting his teammates, saying, "Don't push hills. We need to push objective." And he is absolutely right about that. There's only 1 minute and 12 seconds remaining on the clock here.
Where is that rotation coming in from? The hilltop rotation cannot make it there unless he full sprints without cover, and Otto is going to have shots on him.
He's dead.
Only only 2 members of the beginners remain against Globo's 3. It could still go either way here, but the clock is quickly becoming a factor on Globochem's side as only 45 seconds remain here. Killinger looks like he's going to try to push up into this white tower here. He'll have perfect view of Mixologist, but Mixologist is doing a very risky rotation, but the covering fire will come out from Izzy, but those won't land either. 30 seconds remaining now. The other end of the flank here is coming in.
Mixologist has eyes on that smoke, and I think Killinger deployed that smoke and actually hurt himself because he couldn't see eyes down into Killinger. And we actually have a push coming in inside. Izzy or Bard and Smoils trading as Smoils charges in from the backside. And now with 5 seconds left, we're seeing something that doesn't happen often with beginners. They're going to lose to time.
Ooh.
And, you know, when you have a team like Globo that knows how to defend against the slow push, the odds of your time running out are significantly higher because they know when you're going to have to try and make your move, when you're going to have to try and full sprint towards objective. They have their angles covered because no picks really came out other than the 2 up on the hilltop, and those were trades. It's just a... it's an interesting map choice. Again, as beginners, to kind of buy in, you know, I don't know. Maybe this is Globochem figuring out how beginners like to attack, and they've figured out a strategy to defend against it. Or maybe it's just beginners not. I don't know. It's been a good back and forth. So it's not to say that beginners aren't bringing in new strategies here, but I just don't know if that same old is going to be effective.
And there's definitely kind of a lack of time management here on beginner's side, as you know, people are trying to push to areas that were farther away from objective where they should be for the final minute of the round.
Yeah, I think Thunder getting that early pick basically shut down the entire beginner. You know, once he got that kill right at the start, their long rotations and the moves that they were going to enact and how they were going to converge on that 1 minute mark, I think they just got totally held up, and then their timing got thrown off. Either way, we're back into the action. Round number 2 of map number 2. Globochem versus beginners.
Now some pre-fire is going to be coming out from the Globochem side, but they're not going to find anyone. I think it's more burned, if anything.
Yeah, ooh, Smoils does, or IC Woods, excuse me, does almost get shot from fire from that 2-story. He's going to retaliate. Little suppressive fire of his own. Clearly not quite sure where the attacking shots are coming from.
Woods is able to find Mixologist.
Was a nice long-range pick. Gonna deny pretty early rotation, to be honest. If Mix and Izzy had kind of free charged, they could already be at 3-story hotel applying pressure on objective.
Yeah, but they're kind of being held up here
Yeah.
by the 2 members on the Varsock tower, just from the pure LMG fire. I think that's coming out from Smoils. It's just, that's really iconic for him, and it's working really well. There is effectively a lead wall preventing Globochem from rotating to the west.
There's nothing preventing Izzy from rotating on the east, though. He's already got 3-story control. He might be able to find some angles on some of these defensive positions. He is looking over into Killinger's direction.
Killinger himself was able to find Thunder Pilot, and Globochem are kind of dwindling here.
Yeah, I don't know what Globo's doing. Why would you go for the same style push that you just criticized beginners for doing? You know, I'm not quite sure I understand the thought process there. Maybe there's just not a lot of options that they felt that they had. I'm not sure. I do wonder if they're just going to rely on Izzy to sort of thread the needle here and try and put in a cap.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to rely on Izzy because Smoils just found Otto. Otto is still able to call out. I don't think he's really in a spot where he could get double tapped. At least not in the beginner's view.
He was in front of the horse stalls by the small fence. Might have
Alright,
gone
mate.
just straight.
East stable, small wall.
Yeah, Icy was not sure he has that kill there. You see a pretty smart rotation from beginners too. You know, they're very aware of that potential sneak operation. Woods 43 has had eyes on objective the entire round.
Izzy has not been confident, or doesn't feel the confidence in being able to move closer to the objective just yet, but she is slowly becoming Globochem's last hope at getting themselves another point here.
Ooh.
Okay, got one.
Whoa.
Very nice.
That's a
Nice.
long-range snipe.
Wouldn't expect anything less from Mike, but dang, those never get old.
Literally across the map.
Killinger looks like he's Mike's next target here.
.20 on the clock. Globochem probably going to have to go with a beginner's-esque style push here.
And Mike knows he has to rotate as well. He's on the other side of the map with 2 minutes remaining. Count in for travel time. That is not much time for him to work with.
Did toss a smoke. I don't think it went where he wanted it.
It's a little hard with those now that they're directional, so you
Gee.
kind of have to hope that they land. You have to hope they land in the right direction.
Both smokes not being optimal. I think the hand got caught on some walls when those tosses went out.
Just it's a little injured, wasn't feeling it.
Boy, they are making their move. Izzy on the wall now. Eyes on to Smoyles. Finds the pick. That's a big pickup.
That's Neox, but yeah, a very good pickup for Izzy
yeah,
there.
Smoyles, wow,
Mike's
the
gonna get a
res.
revive.
That's a long
Can you
rotation.
fucking just grenade launch that window? Okay.
Yeah, with only 1 minute 10 left, that really does not allow for
Yeah.
much time. But it's nice to have the manpower though.
What they need to do is have these two draw the full attention of this defense. They need Otto and Mike to really suck everyone's focus while Izzy makes the slow crawl up towards objective. But lasers are drawn right onto Izzy.
And she is just able to miss that.
And repeaks and finds the kill. What an insane choice.
Wow.
The mad woman.
And now Killinger has been downed in this hotel, or in the, I'm
Wow.
sorry, not the hotel, the bungalow. Probably able to call it exactly to the rest of the defense where Otto is with precision.
It's all down to Smoyles. There's 15 seconds left. Globochem have to look for this pick. I don't think Cap is necessarily an option. Mike is looking for it. 8-5. I don't think they're going to get to objective in time and punch this in.
Smoyles just has to hide, but he chooses not to. He's actually rotating, but
Wow.
he'll being there.
Both teams losing to
Random.
time.
Running the clock. Oh man, when you get down to those final minutes of a round, you know the Volk faces have an extra defender, and that is time itself, and they become a huge factor when you get down and dirty with it.
You know, I can understand it happening with beginners. It's sort of in their play style that they play it close to the vest with the clock, but for Globo to run out of time, that's certainly a bit more uncharacteristic.
I think it was because they kind of got a little.
Yeah, the same thing happened. They got caught up early, right?
Yeah, they got caught up early. They focused on getting those reses, which makes sense. But those have to come out a little earlier.
Right.
They had the manpower to make it to objective because no one was on objective from beginner's side. They were relying on Smoyles to, be able to complete these long-range shots. But man, there's just a lot of small things that went wrong for Globochem that kind of caused the timer to be the ultimate factor here.
Like I said, we really laid it on thick on cargo and jinxed ourselves. So we get what we get now, you know?
It wasn't even cargo, man. It was
Or tanker, yeah. We really jinxed ourselves on tanker, and now we're getting the longest possible rounds on Downfall, which isn't necessarily the worst thing. It does mean we get to watch some more Onward between the top 2 teams in the league.
And we will have a very similar objective, but very different to defend.
Way different spawns too, right? I mean, if, in comparison, where this spawn point is significantly is probably one of the faster spawn points you can get on Downfall.
I would argue that the other spawn point of this objective, the what we affectionately refer to as the quick spawn, would be quicker. But
I said one.
It's kind of a tie.
I said one of.
It's kind of a tie. I thought you said one, so that's why.
No. I know it's not the fastest spawn, but it is certainly one of the fastest you can get on Downfall. And already shots ringing out, so that's going to be Globochem knowing where that offense is coming from, but at the cost of 1 life.
Yeah. But that life is resible, so all hope is not lost. Just a lot of suppressions going on in Mix's position, but I think he knows this time just not to peek. Especially when you're being watched like that.
Here's what Thunder is going to do. He keeps dropping back. I'm wondering if he's going to try and find an angle onto Killinger soon.
He might be able to get that angle, but Killinger's up in that 2-story, so he Killinger has the cover advantage there because he just has to peek that window, whereas Thunder has to reveal a lot of his body if he wants to be able to try to go for that. Ooh. Mix is using the individual boards in his defensive position to be able to see if he could see where the defense is at. Almost gets shot himself.
Oh, that revive does come out. Probably at the last second, too. I imagine he didn't have very much time left.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably within the first 15 seconds, so if he wasn't revived, he'd be bled out by now. Mix is able to find Icy Woods, though.
You know, what do we know? Clearly, the peeking can pay off sometimes.
It's a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, true.
Now, there is one member of Beginners kind of chilling out on the north side here. I think he's huddled up in one of these buildings, or maybe really far out. Oh, it's Smoils, of course.
Look at Woods shooting from up here. You see the number of lasers that are drawn into his head right now.
He's almost like he's at a rave concert, man.
Sniper.
Only he can see what we see.
Those sniper shots from 3-story just barely missing his head. Oh, it does look like we have a push coming into that 3-story hotel.
Oh yeah, we got Smoils down there. He's kind of been making his way up on the far flank to the north, and now he's gonna get some. He's gonna get some action with Mike here.
Got action across the board. The push is coming in at 2 minutes from this Beginners team. They're not gonna risk time running out again as Killinger and Thunder get into a trade. Killinger finds the kill. Neox suppressing Mix from peeking up and finding these refrags, but Mix doesn't care.
And now Mike's getting down back at the middle hotel. Mike's getting aggressive with Smoils, but nothing is going to come of that just yet. and it's a trade.
Couple of kills ringing out there as the trade happens on the rooftop. We also see Killinger securing White House, so Mix goes down. Now they have a minute 30 to make the push onto objective. And basically, Globochem have to defend two positions. They have to have Izzy or Bart inside the underground to defend from a cap inside, and they have to have Otto outside to prevent the cap there. It makes it an opportune moment for beginners to push in with their two onto the underground.
Yeah, Izzy's going to have a very tall order when that does happen. 1 minute remaining. Beginners have to act on soon, but they're kind of in a really exposed place if they don't time this just right. And they being beginners, I should say.
Do you have any ammo?
Seconds on the clock. I think Woods might be out, or Killinger might be out of ammo.
Ooh. We don't see the pistol out just yet, so I think he thinks that he has an opportunity.
Wow.
Izzy's able to find one.
20 seconds left. Killinger's approaching. Izzy trades. That could have been bad news for Globochem, but it turns out in their advantage as they take the lead 2-1.
Yeah, Izzy pulled her away and is able to get a point for Globochem there. Even with the odds slightly stacked against her, but she's able to pull through. Now, how much do you want to bet that we're going to have the quicker spawn for Globochem here?
The quickest spawn?
The quickest. The quickest of spawns.
We'll see. What I want to see is if they go prone at the start of the round to ensure that they don't get spotted.
I think it's something you just have to do on this objective. Like, you have to train it in your mind whenever you see the West Dumpster Building, or the Dumpster Building, however you call it, that whenever you spawn in, be prone. Because you don't know if you could have the quickest of spawns. And now there's also kind of the same two kind of polar mentalities that we see with this if we do have the quickest spawns here. Like, the two mentalities that we see with this is do we play it slow, just try to wait for the other team to get aggressive, or do we play it aggressive and try to capitalize on the team trying to get real estate as well?
I legitimately think we might see every one of these rounds come down to the last 30 seconds. Oh, there you go, Todd. The quick spawn's out.
Quick spawn, and they all ducked. We're seeing a bunch of turtles run across.
I wonder if they saw them. I don't think they did. I'm sure they're smoking as a precaution, but what happens as we hop into round number 4.
Two members of Globochem pushing into that middle hotel here. That's going to be crucial against this spawn here. That's not going to stop Mix.
Nothing really seems to be stopping Mix this series. Whoa, Neox!
Oh!
And Woods!
Nice. Fuck yeah,
Izzy
Wow.
going ham, finding the double. I don't know what happened with Neox there, but he had Izzy's back completely exposed and didn't take the shots.
You know what Neox might have been doing is he's waiting for Mix to run it as well and get the double that way in a safer manner, but Izzy was just aware enough to know to look around.
We're now creating a nade pile here.
Gotta pull them together, right?
Pillaging the corpses of her enemies.
That is a legit war tactic, and you know it. Beginners down 2 members in the first minute, I want to say.
Really can't ask for a better start to your Marsoc round on Downfall.
No, you cannot. It's so nice to hear that double come out and just know that the enemy has to change up their plans on the spot.
Yeah. Take a little inventory of where the rest of Globochem's going. It does look like we got 2 rotating east, 1 way up high with some Overwatch action going on. That's an interesting location. That's Mike with the sniper.
I think we always are gonna see Mike with the sniper on this map. It's just a map for him to play around on with how good he is in that sniper.
All-purpose dark rooms peeking the left window.
What's interesting, too, is Mike isn't necessarily taking these shots right now. He is calling out information. He does see that one peeking window. Radios it into his team, who is going to have to deal with that if they push OBJ.
You got 2? So is that 4?
Yeah.
4 dead so far, apparently.
No, I've got 2 smokes, I said.
Oh, never mind.
That's
Don't
a negative
listen
on
to
4
me.
dead. That's a negative on 4 dead.
And now,
Wow.
Mike's able to find Killinger.
I'll eat my words there. He was taking his time on those shots, waiting for the perfect opportunity.
We can cap.
It's so nice to be able to hear that one suppressed shot and then see the feed show up. That is, I can't imagine what it's like to be the actual one shooting.
Either way, Globo have cap on their mind pretty hard right here. Woods not in a great spot if these smokes are good, and he doesn't deny the cross that Is Your Bard are going to go for, but down goes one. Smoils and Icy Woods do have good angles. They need the flank from the backside from Globo, which is coming in now.
Yeah, and forcing Smoils out of that white tower is so crucial now that they can't really defend the outside of the objective, but Smoils is in probably a better side to defend against the 2-man push that's coming on Globochem's south side.
Otto about to be applying pressure onto Woods. Back. Finds the kill, and now it's all down to Smoils to defend, which you can't do on this objective. Globo have to sync up and go for cap here.
Yeah, I think the cap will definitely be a lot easier now that one man is defending 2 spots here. Mix is rehearsing code. Oh, but the communication just lacked.
It's hard. And like we've said, Globo not necessarily a team that targets caps. Even if they have the opportunity, they more often than not go for those kills and the round win.
Yeah, they like to play it safer. They like to play it in a way that's a lot more controllable. And caps are pretty much a wild card.
Either way, beginners have their back against the wall. They cannot afford to lose another round this series. If they do, it is into the hands of Globochem and another, well, a win into the NA books. Let's take a look at the Button Cup standings right now. Geez, we got a lot of games this weekend for the Button Cup. And next week. Okay, it goes for a little bit. No, this is it. This is the last day.
Yeah, I believe this is the last day
I
of the
would say
Button Cup.
2-3 when we've had 15 games played. Or 10 games played. Alright, let's do the math here. Legionnaires win, so that's 1 point. You're asking me to do math? I can't do math.
Hang on, I'll work on it.
All right. Don't tax my brain like that. Can't handle it. I just see kill feed and I cast kill feed. Okay, I'm a simple mind.
I'm getting a notepad now. It's gone to this point.
Oh, gee. There's 6
I'll be
games.
back.
I don't know if it's 4-2 or 3. I don't know. We'll get the news soon enough.
Well, I'm not able to write down stuff quick enough for the next round, so we're gonna worry about this later.
All right, we'll come back between maps. On the note of the Button Cup, though, if you're interested, head on over to Master League 2, where we got SMC Tactical and Pacifist also squaring away right now. Oh no, starting in about, oh geez, I don't know, daylight savings time. I think it's starting in 30 minutes.
It's
no,
a
it
weird
started
time
already.
to be talking to.
Yeah, we're 40 minutes into that series. Either way, we're into this round number 4 or 5. Jeez, the math, Todd.
Hey God, man, you're throwing all this math at me. I'm beginning to keep up. Regardless, we are 30 seconds into round 5 now, because there has not been a cap.
Big get close, but no cigar, and sniping here from Mike. No surprise there. Silenced SVD too. And that's something that you wouldn't be able to do until the most recent patch, right? You can't run that full kitted sniper with all those attachments until relatively recently, I suppose.
Yeah, the new patch definitely makes it a lot easier for designated marksman loadouts to fight in close range with these, the 2x hollow flip sight and the side sights as well. Definitely make it easier to fight whenever you find yourself nose to nose with the enemy.
Interesting Globochem defense that seems to be a bit more focused on the south approach versus the north, but the beginners are investing 3 over here into this northern push. Make that 2.
Mike's able to find Woods with that one shot again.
You know, a good sniper that's well hidden seems to be the perfect counter to beginners, because beginners like to peek. They like to look for the angles. They like to look for the kills. If you know where beginners likes to peek, then you're in a very good position. I think Mike must be doing his homework, or he's just doing very good sniping today.
Don't come down from north Hazal. You need to rotate out of the about now. I'm pushing to west right.
I'm honestly surprised beginners are still looking for peaks after Mike has proven so fatal. Maybe that's why. Smoils with an insane shot.
Yeah, now they don't really have to worry too much. Mike's in a great spot to be able to kind of run a bit of Overwatch and be able to see exactly where people are. Oh no, he can kind of see. He can see Neox at least. Mix is able to find Dr. Killinger.
Moyles definitely had eyes on this angle too, so he is aware of the potential threat that Mix poses from this window, and I would expect a suppressive fire to rain down upon him relatively soon, or at least once beginners try and make their move. We're into a 4v3 though right now.
Yeah, beginners are definitely they kind of get it. They kind of are in a bit of a tough spot here, working with only 3 people, but they've been able to do some crazy stuff before, even out on their playing field, so you can definitely expect to see that in the next 2 minutes here.
One crawling from all purpose to dumpster.
Yeah. Got that dude auto.
Nice job, Izzy.
He's able to find Neox.
I can.
Now beginners have become 2 members.
He's confirmed.
Yeah, the kill feed right now. Izzy
North guy's gonna push us.
7 and 4.
Probably another minute.
I want to talk about a new addition to the Globochem team doing some work. That is really carrying their weight right now against beginners of all people.
Yeah, Izzy's been kind of a staple of the Onward comp lobbies, so she's been everywhere. She's been able to practice for maybe about a year now with league players, and is definitely proven to be such a great pickup for Globochem.
Ooh. You know, a kill is a kill, but not a trade right now when you only have 2 is not ideal, because it does all come down to Smoils.
And speaking of which, he's able to find Mix.
He knew where Mix was. He had eyes on that window earlier on in the round, and still has some more to deal with. Izzy and Otto, not exactly the easiest duo to take down right now. Or is it Izzy and Thunder?
It is Izzy and Thunder.
50 seconds, and Smoils is dropping back for a rotation?
I don't think he's checking tablet or watch. This might be a map win for Globochem off of time again.
I don't know if the teams are trying to make some sort of point that they need more time on this map or what, but yeah, Smoils is certainly being pressured right now. He has to full sprint towards objective. It's an easy pick for Izzy, but I think Globo recognized they don't need to peek right now. They got 2 alive. They have the crossfire onto objective. They're going to have to force this fast rotation.
Yeah, and Izzy's in such a great spot to shut it down. Globochem have this pretty much locked down.
And you know, if you don't play it so slow at the start of a round, you don't have the issue with time at the end when you're trying to make your push. You gotta question both teams' choices and strategy to move so slow at the start of a round. You know, we have that sort of, obviously we have the advantage of seeing through walls and knowing things much before another team does. So what would seem like an obvious rotation to us is one that provides, you know, might be risky to a player that doesn't know that they're being watched. But I don't know, to lose 2 rounds to time on your map pick, not really that great for your team.
Well, I do have your button cup statistics if you would like
hit
to
me
go
with
for
them.
those. Alrighty, so the current score line is 3-3 here,
Okay.
but we do have about like 4 or 5 matches with the button cup going on today, so that could easily change. But definitely is a really close one this year.
I do like it. Love seeing the entirety of the league be so close in skill level. You know, it's like I've said, good time to be a fan of Onward and be playing in the VRML. And I mean, you gotta look at this season as a new player and be feeling pretty positive, right? You've seen a ton of these new guys in the league come in and play on top tier teams and do pretty dang good. You know, it's just a matter of playing in these pub comp lobbies, like you're saying, having a presence there, and eventually you go up against Globochem players enough that you become familiar with that play style, and that makes you a pretty good player.
Yeah, I mean, Izzy, like, if we're talking about, like, kind of like the career player, Izzy kind of made her career off of, you know, being around in comp lobbies enough where people would ask her to come help them out in scrims whenever they're down a player.
Right.
And those scrims would go so well on the teams that Izzy would play for that Globochem couldn't help but notice.
And now we're going to move to our map number 3, not a series decider, as you would expect out of both these teams, but a map number 3 either way. It is Quarantine. About to hop right into round 1.
Yeah, beginners are now shift to full damage control mode here as they try to preserve their MMR that they're about to lose to Globochem.
Yeah, they don't get a lot of chances to go up against people of equal or higher MMR than themselves. Both squads don't get this chance very often, so you're right, it's a big MMR opportunity.
And I should have mentioned this, it's now 4-3 NA's winning because just won the game, so.
You cut out who did?
Globochem, or NA's now winning because
sure.
Globochem obviously won the game, so that's going to count toward the NA side of the button cup here, so. Woo, USA! And Canada. Can't forget our friends too. We're gonna see a pretty substantial push coming out of Globochem here. Kind of getting up in the face of beginners here on this rooftop.
Yeah, they had that southeast spawn, I think, or was it middle? How fast they pushed. It must have been that. It must have been the middle spawn over on the east.
Neox is able to find Otto. And now beginners have a little bit of a lead.
You know, when you get into this sort of mode as Globochem, it does pose a bit of a risk. You've just come out 4-1 on beginners on map 2. You beat them already in the series. It's pretty easy to kind of fall into a lull and not be too hardcore about this last map.
I mean, yeah, your mindset is, we won, and
Yeah.
it's a party now. Let's all play this for fun. And, you know, a lot of teams do that, and then they lose, like, you know, pretty badly in the last map, even though they win, like, the whole series. But I think Globochem are a little bit smarter than that. Alrighty. Kill on both sides here, so it doesn't really do much in the grander scheme of things, but Globochem are now down a man compared to beginners.
I'm not sure where that pick came out from, but they do manage to snag one. In the meantime, we do have two over on the far north side making their push, and I do wonder if beginners are going to be ready for something like that.
Icy was able to find Mixologist, but Izzy's able to get a nice refrag onto Killinger. He will get, or she will get refragged as well. And now Globochem is only one member compared to beginners 3. And that action's happening on the north side here as Woods is going to try to get Peaky on Thunderpilot, who's rocking that shield flashlight combo.
He's got a flashlight on his pistol.
Yeah, well, the flashlight helps you aim. If you aim in the center of where the flashlight is, it helps you out, but Woods is able to see through that lie and is able to get beginners a point.
What they needed to answer back, I think it had been 3 unanswered points from Globochem in that last map, so to be on the board here on this final map, best case scenario for this beginner.
Yeah. And being able to get that momentum kind of going for you for map 3 is really helpful in order to be able to get that 2-1 scoreline. So your MMR loss isn't that bad. But we haven't been seeing some, well, I mean, so Tanker was 3-4. Granted, Downfall is going to be a huge hit to the beginners MMR.
Yeah.
But this is their opportunity to, you know, do some damage control here. If beginners can take a, you know,
4-0 map.
4-1.
4-0 and they tied the scoreline.
Yeah. That'd be something we would expect to see, but this game has been anything but expectations, so.
True. I guess what do you expect for round number 2?
Yeah. I see what you did there. I see. Get it? I see what. That's enough. Trip's probably really mad at us. He hates puns.
I have my own shit I do too.
Haters gonna hate, man. Haters gonna hate. We're gonna see a little bit of aggression.
Did you see that south spawn in the plane wing position taken up? Something that has been a little bit more common with that south spawn, again, with this season. You have great coverage of the roof, and it's applying pressure to Otto and Mike here.
Yeah, I don't think I'm seeing beginners get as aggressive as Globochem won that round. Again, Globochem lost that last round, so maybe beginners have an idea how they want to go about it. Ooh, and Woods is taking shots into the rooftop there from the 3 stories, not able to find anybody just yet, but I think he's doing the same thing that they were doing on Tanker, which is to just be a nuisance.
He's certainly drawing Mike's eye over here, which I don't know is a good thing, as Mike almost finds a pick.
Yeah, he's really good about just knowing where players are, and he has that eye.
Both times eye.
Neox is using the pad. to draw the attention of Mike, but I think Mike sees that. He's not really interested in it.
There's one to the east of Marsoc.
Woods is going to try to pepper the rooftop,
smoking
but
up.
once again, won't find any good shots onto Globochem's designated marksman.
If anything, Mike's getting a lot of info here. He knows there's one over by ambulance. He knows the cross is happening here. He's trying to land the shots, and he does.
He's dead.
Yeah, very nice shot from Mike. He's able to take off one member of beginners. Current man count is 5-4 with Globochem's advantage right now. But now beginners are beginning to make their move up closer to the rooftop as they try to get a little bit more aggressive here. I think they know that if they try to find these picks from a long range, Globochem have the advantage because they have a really good sniper rifle. And Icy Woods is going to be able to find Otto on the rooftop with a grenade.
I think Mike's going to get that res, relatively uncontested. But yeah, nice toss right where you need it to be.
Just a little bit closer and he would have had that as a confirmed kill, but oh, that is a good nade. Now one thing kind of shifting over to the Globochem side of the defense here, we're seeing them hold more angles than usual. They're peaky. I think only Mike's the one that's getting peaky, but he's far enough away where he could actually see enemies before they see them. Oh, and another nade. It won't be as good as the one we saw before, but it definitely shows that beginners have a general idea of where the defense is hiding. Killinger's able to find Mix.
And now, honestly, Otto and Mike are kind of in an awkward spot as beginners start to apply closer pressure to this rooftop. Mike with the sniper is where he's going to excel, and Smoils with the LMG where he's going to excel. Picks up Mike.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, the LMG at close is definitely much more preferable to have over the sniper.
Yeah.
Because it just lays down that fire. And sometimes even if you're not on target, the spread of the LMG itself will actually help you.
Minute 45 on the timer here.
Now Killinger's going to try to go up the plane wing. See if he can find Otto, but Otto's actually hiding in the smoke here. They don't see each other just yet. That smoke's gonna go down soon. Izzy's able to find Neok. Otto's able to find Killinger as well. It's currently effectively a 3v3, but beginners have one to res.
Does look like Icy Woods is going to get on that rotation for the res with only a minute left. It's one of those things where was this rotation around this building worth it? And then to crawl up and get this res, the time they're burning, something that they can afford to burn. Smoils also rotating around here, back up to plane wing. Not a lot of time.
No, 45 seconds remaining, and Smoils still has to take down the rooftop. That is not the timeline you want to. Is able to find Icy Woods.
I got 2 down.
And Otto's able to find Smoils as well. 30 seconds remaining. Only one member of the beginners left. He's going to make a mad dash to his objective, but Neox has already been found by both Izzy and Thunderpilot. He will go down, and Globochem will go up a point.
They continue to pick apart the beginner's offense. With that slow play strat, you know, clearly prepped and waiting for it.
Part of me wants to see what would happen if the beginners went with that very, very aggressive Volk defense like the entire game, and see how Globochem would have reacted to that.
I saw that strategy get played by beginners in a previous map. When did I cast them last? I honestly think it was the last time I watched beginners where they tried to do that and it failed pretty bad. Clearly, they've been practicing their timing and how to make that strategy work. I haven't even watched the beginners match this season. But when was it? Maybe it was another team then. It had to have been a different team try that same sort of strategy. Beginners just refined it.
The last time you casted them was Season 8, so...
Black.
Or at least Globochem beginners. But... yeah, beginners lost that match too, so maybe it was that, but... definitely has been something that has kind of been on their development list for the past season or so.
Yeah, new strats, new moves and maneuvers that they can end up throwing. It's something you have to do, right? It's almost as if the Globochem roster swap, changing up, has helped them more this season than if they had the same sort of roster from last season, because they're innovating, they're trying out some new strats. You know, Izzy's really doing great with this sniper, completely shutting down this beginners team.
I think you mean Mike, but yes.
Yes, Mike. Sorry.
Having the sniper on the team, like Arsenic was, I think before,
Yeah.
kind of shifts them back into that old school Globochem kind of mentality where they can rely on someone to get these picks from a long distance and be able to kind of start creating cracks in the beginner's offense or defense, depending on where you're sniping from. But
I like
and then
that.
driving through and just breaking it apart.
I like that train of thought. They are, if anything, returning to an old Globochem playstyle where they do have that Overwatch sniper. You're right.
And Izzy is also really great with
Kind of like
being able to
pants.
fight closer. Exactly.
I get it.
It's finding the next pants. And Globochem could go to an earlier state back when they were in their prime, and it's working really well for them.
They've obviously got a formula that they like to put into play. Thunder Pilot pushing up into Tank Courtyard, the most forward pushed of this Globochem offense. Globo are playing this one a little bit slow.
Yeah, they are. They're kind of hanging back here. Then again, this objective is kind of in the middle of the map, so they are kind of afforded that luxury. I was able to find Neox on a very distant shot. Neox is only down. He can still get rezzed.
Smoke amongst house. That's north as well.
More sniper shots from Mike trying to catch out Burning
Yeah.
Building 2-story.
We're seeing a much slower play coming out of Globochem, but is
There's
find
one in
Smoils.
Burning Stairwell, sorry.
And now beginners are down a man completely. Killinger's able to find Mike Crook. That's a huge pick because Globochem's been relying on Mike to pull through for them. Thunder and Mike Crook are gonna, or I'm sorry, Thunder and Woods are gonna get pretty close here, but Thunder's gonna emerge victorious. He still has to confirm his kill. But Globochem have the momentum down. Oh, and a nice nade is able to take down Thunder Pilot from Woods. I think that was communicated by, I'm sorry, from Icy Woods is able to get that nade. Woods communicated it. And Mixologist goes down as well. I think beginners are just on top of their comms right now.
Where is he on the roof?
He was on the northwest corner. I thought he was friendly. Fucked off back west.
Killinger's able to find Izzy or Bart.
Killinger really the MVP that round, finding some good nades, finding some good kills, keeping beginners in it on quarantine as they go up 2-1.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking out Mike in the beginning stages of the round there is so crucial to beginners finding that win there because that really inhibits Globochem on preventing rotations from happening. I'm sorry. Yeah, it does. I'm getting confused here, but it limits Globochem in their movements because Mike can't cover them.
Yeah, to get that Overwatch certainly seems to be a key element for this beginners team if they want to really help shut down Globochem's momentum, and we'll see if that momentum can keep beginners going and grab themselves a map win, because right now they haven't managed to snag one yet.
Pre-fire's gonna come out, trying to inhibit the street crossing, but everyone's able to get across safely because they stopped, looked, and listened both ways. Luckily, there's no random cars driving down the street. That would really throw a cog into the gameplay.
Yeah. There was two headed there. One got stuck at the bridge. He's probably made it by now, though.
Standard hush before the action with beginners, right?
Yeah.
All of Globochem kind of holding their angles, making sure nothing crazy is happening. We might see some action over here on the north soon.
The calm before the storm of beginners. Globochem's going to try to get a little peeky here, but I think they're actually going to try to rotate back before they get into too much trouble here.
Thunder's got a couple of different eyes on him, though.
Yeah, he does. I think he knows that. Mike's able to find Icy with that SKS that he is just so famous on.
That angle that Smoils has on the hill has been pretty key to suppress Thunder and Mike so far, but since he's rotating, Mike is going to have some free range to snipe on this north.
Yeah. And giving Mike free range is suicidal for beginners, because one thing that really makes Mike successful as being a sniper is that he doesn't just camp in one spot. He's very mobile.
Sometimes that bites you in the back as Woods finds the back of Mike.
Well, he's not mobile anymore.
No, he's not.
But Thunder knows exactly where Woods is, and if he's able to get this pick, he'll be able to get that res. But right as I say that, Killinger's gonna prove me otherwise.
Woods gonna apply a pressure here. Catch Thunder on the rotation and gets him. Now he can drop back, get the res, turn it into a 4v3.
Yeah, this is exactly what beginners needed. They shut down the sniper. They shut down his support as well. And now they have a relatively clear path to the objective.
Is a bit of a ways away, but they have time for the first time in this series. 3 minutes left on the clock. They seem to be in good position.
And Smoils is kind of making his approach a little bit on his own. But he's in a very interesting spot because he's kind of being covered by Mix in that garage back there. At least in the south garage, I should say.
Yeah, it's so far away from objective. He has to do so much rotation if these two get picked up quickly inside this objective room. Objective rubble, excuse me.
And Izzy's actually getting peaky with beginners here. We've talked about this before, how that could, you know, that doesn't really work against the beginners because they like to watch angles before they move up on them.
Izzy now knows that someone's over by ambulance, takes shots to the back end, drops a little heal on herself, so she'll be fine, but the pressure is going to start to come in pretty thick right now. Killinger and Woods positioning themselves on the outside of Rebel to make their entry point up through the nose, and they have that pretty down pat. They're very experienced at making this push.
Yeah, Smoils. Well, beginners have 4 members left, so this is going to be a very strong one for 3 members of Globochem to defend from. The smoke's coming out, and this has been the bane of Globochem before, as Killinger is able to find one, but is not able to get on objective.
Wow, good rotation from Otto. Catches Neox. Woods rotating around the opposite side of the wall, actually, and Mix coming in from the backside tries to find the kills in the 2-story. Otto nearly team kills Mix. Mix nearly team kills Otto. The chaos is thick.
Yeah, and Woods is just chilling on objective like it's no problem.
45 seconds left. 2 left alive on OBJ. Woods can't cap from inside here, can he?
No, I don't think he can. It's just a little bit too far. You could cap on the pillar that's Mixologist is watching right now, but they know that they've got Woods cornered here. But oh, Woods is gonna try it anyways. Mix is gonna find that.
25 seconds left. Are we really gonna get another timeout? I hope not, as Smoils makes the press.
Yeah, I suppose is the last remaining member. Beginner started this press with 4 members, but now down to 0. And Mixologist go down along with Smoils.
Globochem doing a nice job of hanging on to that little bit of defense. They didn't really get too overzealous. Mix with a very key rotation from his garage position, which we talked about as a very risky spot to be in. He ends up grabbing himself a very key denial there.
And one thing that a smoke push onto objective can allow is allow for the defense to actually rotate back onto objectives.
Just no time between rounds here either. We are into the final map. The series is decided, and right now, the back and forth is good for beginners, but not best case. You know, if Globo end up having this back and forth, I think they'll be all, you know, their MMR gain is still going to be relatively significant.
Yeah, I mean, Globochem is still the #1 team, and beginners are up there too. I forget which one's more on top, but I think it is Globochem. But them having this one will definitely put a little bit of disparity between them and beginners.
Looks like they have ID'd the spawn, and Globochem have a tall order now to go up against this beginner's defense. If they don't get this control over on the east, things could go really bad. And actually, there's some big rotations coming in from the south out of these defensive players.
We're going to see more of a south bias in the push from Globochem, as they're going to send their three-man squad toward that plane wing. And I believe Thunderpilot's actually going to bring the shield this time. They're going to let Mike handle the sniping, even though, in my opinion, I think I've seen better shield play out of Mike than Thunder.
What the heck? Izzy or Bart peeks and finds a spray right onto the head of the beginner's defender on Dunes. There's going to be no res available for Smoils.
Smiles can catch Izzy off guard, though, because Izzy thinks that that's clear now.
Right. Understandably, Smoil's a bit hesitant about peeking this hill.
Yeah, he's abstaining a little bit. I think he knows that that's just not what beginners need right now.
Big early pick opens up a lot of options for this Globochem team now too, as they are tied 2-2. Cap would get them the map win. But that's a tall order on this objective.
Yeah, we don't really see Globochem go for cap too much. We did see Izzy try, but Izzy's kind of Globochem's, a little bit of Globochem's but
I think that was
definitely not as straight-laced as Thunder is or Otto.
think that Izzy cap was against global regulation.
Ooh. Going rogue, going rogue.
Woods IDing that south approach. Smoils peeks up and over and grabs himself a
I
kill.
shot another guy, but shield is still on.
And now Otto's kind of separated from Thunder, which means, but here's the thing about bringing a shield on the south side. That shield is very ineffective when it comes to fighting people on dunes. As a matter of fact, I as a shield player try to avoid going south.
Shield is dead. Shield is dead.
And for that reason exactly, Smoils is able to find Thunder Pile.
There's another one here.
Looks for the double, doesn't find it as rotations come in. Otto is going to drop back and try and make his push up along the wall. Meanwhile, what's happening on with Mix?
Yeah, Mix is in a pretty exposed position where he's going. He's going silently, but he could easily be picked up by Killinger here.
Gonna be pretty tall, or pretty tough to go out
For
to.
Mix. Yeah, especially after that last kill. Neox brings Globochem down to 1, and beginners are 4 strong. This is looking like a Volk trading ground. And Mix doesn't even know that he's the last one up. He's radioing.
Yeah, he just gave away his position. I see Woods now knows he's here. Killinger is going to be peeking
And
up
the
into this area too.
need. It's not close enough.
The shots from the side by Smoils are, as beginners push their lead up again, 3-2.
That nade though was almost perfectly thrown. It just caught a random handrail and negated that effectiveness. But that would have been a good ender.
Always an exciting way to see your team wins. When you chuck a nade and then get that victory screen to pop up on your...
There's not really many ways you could be notified when your nade actually works, because typically you're throwing nades in places where you can't be seen. Sometimes I appear in the tents and I see an extra kill. It's like, where'd that happen from? It's like, oh, you naded me. Oh, that's pleasant. One of the joys of Onward. Keeps you kind of going in the game. We'll have the same objective for beginners to attack now. But we've been seeing a lot of Volk trading here on this round here.
Celebrating in chat about an NA Button Cup win, and I think it might be a little premature, Sleep.
Well, they did win.
Oh,
Globochem did win the game.
Yeah, and I'm reporting, spoiler alert, guard your ears.
Ooh, guard your ears if you don't want to know.
3, 2, 1. SMC has beaten Pacifists, so now NA leads 2 by 2 points, 5-3.
USA, Canada, Mexico. I don't know.
I don't know. No, 5-3. That's right.
Yeah, it's 5-3 right now.
And I think there's only one game left to be played. So even if EU can get the W, I'm pretty sure NA has won the Button Cup. So Sleepy is right. It's not premature declaration. We'll run over that again, though, because we still have action to unfold in front of us here. Globochem and beginners still squaring off on the final map of the series. Obviously, Globochem taking those first 2 maps and the series, but we always compete for MMR here in the Master League. So this final map does count on that regard.
Yeah, MMR is a very complex equation, kind of like what we see in other competitive games. Every element of the game is actually kind of fed into the equation to see where teams are really based skill-wise. Kind of allows for similarly based skilled teams to go up against each other and prove who is more dominant.
It is a good system that provides us with some high-quality games, as Season 9 has been a perfect example.
Yeah. And even with these meta changes, the MMR still holds true.
Top teams are at the top for a reason, you know?
Yeah, they are. Because they know how to win.
Know how to adapt, they understand the game's mechanics, and even when new things are introduced, they're able to implement them. Although, I will say, no drones at all coming in from either one of these teams.
The drone takes a bit of practice to fly. There's multiple elements. It's how to fly certain patterns to keep the enemy team guessing where on earth your drone is, because you got the audio cue, but that obviously doesn't hone in exactly where they are, since human ears are pretty bad compared to other animals.
Yep, he's prone by the turbine building.
And then how do you get information from that as well as the second element?
Dillinger tosses a nice nade in the direction of Thunder, doesn't find purchase. Thunder's still alive on the corner. Talk of where the rest of this south. You got one on plane wing, one by ambulance.
I need another smoke, by the way.
And one in tank courtyard and one in the hotel.
3 minutes left. I'm wondering what the pinch is going to look like from beginners here. Maybe send Woods up the middle, Smoils on the back, and have the other three come in from the south.
I think the pitch is going to happen once Smoils is able to confirm that Otto is indeed been slaughtered. He is able to find Thunderpilot, so one of the brothers will go down.
Otto is denying entry from this cross. Here's something interesting to note. The smoke is being held up in the air, which is just insane strats by Killinger, so that he could cover the high ground for Woods to rotate up that hill. That is some smart play.
Yeah. The smokes can be a little funky at times because they do have the ability to phase through walls, so you could do some pretty unrealistic stuff with them, I would say.
I mean, I would imagine you can't really hold an active smoke either, but maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
I honestly wouldn't know. I've never really dwelled into what those smoke chemicals are made of or what kind of reaction takes place. It could be a combustive reaction, in which case, yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to hold that. Or even walk through them. It could be, very noxious in real life, but I'm not a military expert, so maybe one of our veterans could explain what happens, but Mixologist is able to define Icy Woods. That's something I can't explain.
Got eyes drawn in on him. Neox wants that refrag. Killinger able to find Mike Crook on the far backside. That is a huge pickup for the beginners offense if they want to make this push onto objective. This is a big push for beginners if they want to grab this map right now. Izzy goes down. Now it's down to 2 from Globochem.
And only 1 minute and 6 seconds remaining. This is the time for the push to happen, and it is happening. Otto's able to find Woods 43 with exactly 1 minute remaining. And now Globochem are just trying to shut it down in order to be able to stay in this map and get themselves a 3-0.
Good smokes onto Mix. Neox finds the frag. He's now going to apply pressure onto objective. Otto forced into a rotation to make sure the cap doesn't come in. He'll have his back exposed to Smoils, who finds the pick and the map for beginners 4-2.
The cap could have happened there, but that's all they really needed. Beginners will go up 1 map to Globochem and not be totally trounced.
Yeah, that is the real saving grace, I suppose, that you don't lose a series by 3 maps. They kept it close on a tanker too, so this final quarantine map going 4-2 does really close the gap of MMR loss that they'll experience. And we get ourselves the great quality game.
Yeah, and I think having a scoreline like that really shows how good both these teams are. Obviously, Downfall was a huge slide for Globochem here, but Beginners still kept it very close, even on that map.
I mean, they kept it close every series, really. I mean, we got down to the wire on a bunch of Downfall rounds that just didn't pan out into the favor of Beginners. And even happened with Globo. They also ran it down and lost a round 2-time. Overall, a very sweaty matchup between both these teams. Both of these squads putting in their max effort. Beginners coming in with some new plays against Globo that worked very well, but just not enough new plays, in my opinion.
Yeah, being able to kind of change it up on an opponent that knows you for years now.
Yeah.
Because these guys have been duking it out since season 1. Being able to kind of, throw an uppercut every once in a while that you would not have expected can really work wonders for you if you're able to implement it properly.
I think that's going to be it for us here on the desk as well. A final recap of the Button Cup standings. NA is currently in the lead 5-3, and there's only one match left. Boss fight versus Rome. That also could be over in the score reported. But either way, however that goes, NA have officially won the Button Cup. So I'm sure we're going to see teams bragging in the Discord.
Yeah, USA.
Either way,
Canada.
I mean, all those Button Cup series were very good to watch. I'm glad we got to tune in for a good chunk of them this season, and I am super excited to see how the rest of the season pans out, because now we get back into the regular season, back to your scheduled NA-EU matches. Maybe some challenges get brought out as well, and we'll be sure to keep our eyes peeled, because there is going to be nothing but more high-quality Onward delivered to you guys here at the VRML. With that, we'll be signing off. Quick shout out to our sponsors, Pro2VR and VR Cover. We do appreciate you guys sponsoring the league and providing our champions with some nice additional prizes. Also, a quick shout out to the Pistol Whip tournament that is being run by the Virtual Athletics League. If you are interested in testing out your rhythm shooting skills, there are a variety, really, of home tournaments you can participate in that will then lead to a potential at competing at a LAN event in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, and I personally use Pistol Whip to warm up for my matches, so it's such a great game. Definitely just check out the game and the tournament as well.
Gets your legs a-firing.
Yeah. My legs look extra good because of my hours into that game.
Big shout out to everybody that tuned in today. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the Twitch Prime. Thank you for the bits. We always appreciate the support. It comes right back to us casters to help you deliver you guys the high-quality Onward action that you need in life. With that, we will be signing off. My name is NightFiree with 2 E's. My co-caster, TFH with a swear word. We'll see you guys later.
I'll have to steal that.